We have all our finalists for the World's Strongest Man final starting on Saturday. So if we first start to look into the Group 1 with Pavlo Kordiaka, Tom Stoltman, Bobby Thompson, Konstantin Janasha, Pau Dwyer, and Eddie Williams. After Tom's poor performance in the Cones wheel, Kordiaka took the first place, and then after the kettlebell toss, Kordiaka was securely directly qualified to the World's Strongest Man final, which meant that we would have to see Tom Stoltman against Bobby Thompson in the stone off, and no surprises there. Bobby Thompson did 3 stones and couldn't do the fourth, which made Tom Stoltman ready for the final. And yeah, I mean, 3 stones for Tom that didn't really matter if he went directly or did those 3 stones, because that will not affect him at all. So for Group 1, we have Kordiaka and Tom Stoltman into the final. In the Group 2, Novikov won 3 out of 4 events and had enough points to just have to throw 1 kettlebell, and then he went directly into the final. More interestingly was Luke Stoltman going up against Gavin Bilton in the stone off. Luke Stoltman having an advantage, so Gavin had to go first, and they ended up lifting 7 stones. Gavin failed to lift the last heaviest stone for a third time, which made Luke the second Stoltman into the final. So we have both Luke and Tom going into the final. So from Group 2, Alexei Novikov and Luke Stoltman. Then in Group 3, Mitchell Hooper tried to be the first man to ever win all the events in his group, but I mean, kettlebell toss, Mateusz Kulskowski finally got to show that he's not totally dead. He won the kettlebell toss across all the groups. But anyway, Mitchell Hooper directly into the World's Strongest Man final for a second year. And then we got to see Matt Ragg in a stone off against Ivars Moxdelis. And as I guess some of you already heard, Matt Ragg is good in the stones. First time trying stone to shoulder, he lifted 200 kilos stone to his shoulder. So going up against Ivars, even though Ivars is very good stone loader, he ended up winning. Ivars failed after lifting 8 stones. Matt Ragg then going directly into the final. So from Group 3, Mitchell Hooper and Matt Ragg. In the Group 4, it got pretty intense. Brian Shaw did his worst placing in the first event, the Cohen's Wheel, which actually put Jaco from South Africa directly into the final after good performance also in kettlebell toss, which meant that we had the 2 masters, Brian Shaw and Rona Heinla, in a stone off. So Brian Shaw for a second consecutive year in the stone off, this time against Rona Heinla. And they ended up lifting the stones 11 times. So not very good for Brian Shaw. Brian Shaw is into the final with Jakob Schoonwinkel, but having to lift 11 Atlas stones, I hope that didn't take too much out of him, because he will need all his power going up against all Tom, Alexei, Mitchell Hooper in the final. But anyway, we got Jaco and Brian Shaw from Group 4 into the final. And in Group 5, we have Evan Singleton, who for his fourth year in World's Strongest Man didn't mess it up, but he's in the same group as Trey Mitchell, and he couldn't edge him out. So Trey Mitchell went directly into the World's Strongest Man after a very good group performance. Evan Singleton just 1.5 point behind, and 2 points behind Evan we have Ether. So that means we have Evan Singleton in the stone off against Ether. And Evan is the highest placed athlete, which means that he has the advantage of either will have to go first, and either and Evan ending up on lifting 8 stones, which means that either failed lifting the ninth, which then again means that we have Evan Singleton in his first final. So that also means that we actually had the second placed athlete going into the final in all of the groups. So all our 10 qualifiers or finalists are Paulo Cordiaca, Tom Stoltman, Alexei Novikov, Luke Stoltman, Mitchell Hooper, Matthew Ragg, Jaco Schoonwinkel, Brian Shaw, and Trey Mitchell, and Evan Singleton. So that's all of our 10 finalists, and that puts me 8 out of 10 in the prediction, which I'm not too proud of because the 8 ones was, yeah, one of the most clear favorites to go to the final. So the two surprises is Jaco Schoonwinkel, which actually won Group 4 over Brian Shaw, and then Matthew Ragg from New Zealand, which is coached by Shane, MST System, having his first final in his first World's Strongest Man. So there we have it, World's Strongest Man starting on Saturday, and very looking forward to that. It would be one interesting final for sure. So in the final we have, starting off with the finger fingers, then it's the deadlift for repetition, it's a shield carry, it's a max dumbbell press, vehicle pull, and finishing off as usual with the Atlas dumps. So we have one Canadian, two athletes from the Ukraine, three from United States, two from Great Britain or Scotland, one from New Zealand, and one athlete from South Africa.